Alright, in today's video, we continue with the topic of OpenSSH on Windows. So, in the last video, we installed or enabled the OpenSSH on Windows 2025 as a demo, and we established connection from the a client machine to the server. So today we're going to talk about using the key to access the remote server. So it's also people also call it a passwordless access or public key access or key pair access. This is just a name, okay? So let's look at the Microsoft documentation. So if we Google search similar like a key access, so the first one is going to the key-based authentication in OpenSSH for Windows. So basically this is basically laid out how to create a key pair and how to push the private key to the server side and establish this key access without using password. Okay, so so I'm not going to go exactly as the Microsoft, which I just want to make it relatively simple. Okay, so let's go back to the document. So basically, here's the assumption. So we had a default installation of OpenSSH on Windows. So that is 2025 last time we did. This is default installation or setup. It's like basically we just simply started the service, okay? Nothing more on Windows 2005 and onward. So there's no any customization to the SSH service. Okay, so this is our assumption. So then we're gonna use our demo system. So on the server, we're gonna use the same one. So this is the server we're gonna use. This is the Windows 225, W225, Windows Server 2025, and so we're gonna use a user called sysadmin1. It's like we are one of the sysadmin users. Just ourselves, okay? So I also have another server, Linux. So sometimes in order to compare the difference, I may connect to this server, okay? It just standby. So on the client side, this time I'm going to pick up a Linux client. So it is on the Ubuntu server, Ubuntu box, okay? Same user ID. And so on the remote on the server side, this user must be administrated in order to connect. However, from the local, it doesn't matter, just as long as you can log on to the local, either Windows, regardless Windows, Mac OS, Linux, all the flavors, and as long as it's a user, we can do the connection, okay? So this client server, there's lots of things to cover, but we just simplify. So let's see on the client side, we're gonna use SSH to connect, and then we also are gonna use called SSH keygen to generate the key pair. This is the second thing. We're gonna generate a key type, because on the Windows, when we generate the key, the default is this one. So we're gonna use the same as Windows if we run the SSH keygen, okay? So it's more nowadays it's more standard. So we can't use this one as its copy ID. This typically we can push public key to the Linux. And so because on Windows we cannot do this way, okay? So that is the difference. And also, as I mentioned, and for the key pair generation, we don't have to generate on the box where the client box. So you can generate somewhere else and ship over to the client box. Okay. So the important thing it is this pair. Okay. It doesn't matter where it's generated. The important thing it is we have a key pair can be used. Okay. So if we see a diagram, this one. Okay. So let's use this diagram. Let's see, I have a server, right? So let me go to here. So I have a server, but I put a private key in a location, typically in the user home.ssh. But for the Windows, we're gonna put in this location. I will explain later. So. And also on the client side, we're going to have the private key. So in this way, the private key and public key can communicate each other to authenticate the SSH connection. Okay. As far as these two key, where it generates doesn't matter. As long as you have a way to generate, that should be fine. Okay. So let's go on, and so this is on the client. On the server side, because we are using Windows, right? So on the server side, for the Windows, the service was the OpenSSH config file was in this location. Program data, C drive, SSH. In the Linux, this is standard Linux. It should be in the etc. For admin user to authorize, so Microsoft put into the program data SS location and the file name and hold the public key. It's called administrator authorized keys. For the Linux, it's different. So in Linux, it is basically in the user home.ssh authorized keys. Okay, or authorized keys too. So that is the difference. Okay. Let me move this line to below. So in the config file, you're gonna have some configuration. So like for example, which user allow, what kind of where is the authorized key information. So that's just FYI. So let's get started. Okay. So I'm going to demo a relative simple one. So basically, first we're going to create the key, and then copy the key over. So we're gonna use the SCP to copy. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so on the red window, this is the user. I'm logged on to the Ubuntu box. So I'm in this is the home location of this user. So I'm logged on as the username called sysadmin1, just a user. Okay, so nothing in the home directory. The only directory is some hidden files. You see. So this is the .ssh. This is where it's gonna save the key. Okay, so let's do a connection test. So before we do that, let me remove this file so you can see from scratch. Okay, so I removed the .ssh. So right now there's nothing on the Linux on this box. Okay, so we're gonna do a connection test. SSH. So we're gonna connect to W25, and so because the remote user, we're gonna use the same as this local user. So we just omit that that string like remote user at. Okay, so let's do it. So since this is the first time, so we're gonna just accept this one. So let's see, give us the password. Now you can see I'm in the remote server. The reason I can log on using password because I'm an admin user. Okay, so let me exit session. How are we gonna log on without using the password? So that is the topic of today, right? So as you can see, let's see. As you can see, when I issue the ss command, so the command, if this directory doesn't exist, they will create. Okay, so let me cd to that .sh directory. So they can create some files called known host. This is basically contain the remote host's name information and so on. Now we're gonna go to step 2. So we're gonna do the keygen. Okay, so we're going to use the command called sh-keygen. So it says creating key pair. And by default on Linux, it's the RSA. So I'm not going to use RSA because I'm going to use a different one. So in this way, let me cancel this one. So we're going to use -t to specify the type. Okay, the key type. You can specify like DSA, RSA, or ECDSA, something. So the one I'm going to specify, it is ED25519. Okay, so this is the key type. The reason I'm choosing this because on Windows by default also using this one. Okay, and also in many cloud environments also using this by default. So, and this is where you're gonna save. So the default is the user's home.ssh. This is the file. Okay, not going to enter anything, so just take all the default, so it's done. Let's do ls. So you see, after the keygen, they create 2 files. One, it is the id underscore ed2519, that is the private key. So we also have this with .pub, that is the public key. So this public key is going to be, we can push this pub key to any client server, any server side, so establish connection. Okay, so that is the key pair. So the private key is gonna stay here, and whenever we need to establish a SSH connection using key pair, so we're gonna copy this one to the client side. Okay, so let's do it. So in order to copy to that, so for simplicity, so I'm going to use this utility called SCP. Okay, so basically on the Linux, everything should be in the /user bin. Those all these utilities, you can see it is in the /bin. So that is standard location, and it's like a key. This is, you see, keygen. Right, so this is in the user bin directory, so we can just simply use them. So to push the key to the remote Windows server, there's many ways to do that. So I'm going to just use the simple SCP. So in this way, it is relatively easy. You can also use SFTP, and that is even more straightforward. Okay, so before I push the key over, so I'm going to let's go to the Windows box. So let me go to Windows box, open a Explorer. Okay, all right, so this is the Windows box. So what we're going to push, we're going to push into C drive program data and SSH. This is the location we're going to push. Right now, you see there's no file called. Before we do that, let me open this one. Okay, so you can see this is the config file I mentioned. So let me open a command window. Okay, so this is a command window. So I'm going to take a look at the SHD config. Okay, so this is the config file. So the config file will containing the OpenSSH service, some of the configuration, like for example, what port is going to this or default. So like 22. And majority was commented out because they took default, like public key authentication is yes. Also, lots of other things. Okay, so majority you see commented out. The only thing also here, allow users. So you see here, this is allow groups. So if we are in the administrators group, so we can log on. Okay, or we can, or if we are in the OpenSSH Windows group, we can log on. Okay. And also here, it also mentioned, so the file is called administrators authorized key. So this is the file that's going to be used. Okay, so we're going to push over and put the key into this file. Okay, currently we don't have this file in this location. Okay. So we're going to create this file using the SCP method, okay? So in this way, it is probably, it's better to preserve the file permission instead of, so like if I right click, use Notepad to create a file, this may be some file permission like is incorrect. So we just better to use the tool itself. So in this way, we preserve the file. Also here, you can see the comment that says authorized key file. That is basically where you're going to hold the public key. By standard, should be in .ssh, but because of Windows, Microsoft made something special for the administrator. So they put into here, okay? So let's do it. All right, so now, let me, how do I see both windows? So I'm going to see this window. I think I have to make it smaller, so in this way we can see it, okay? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make this window smaller. So let's see it, okay? So I'm going to use SCP. As I said, we're going to push this file, okay, public key file, to the server, as in my case W22. So colon, like double quote. So we're going to push into this location C drive / program data. This is SSH dot. Dot means that location. So now they ask us password, so I'm going to push over there, okay? Okay, now you can see this key was pushed over to this one. But this key needed to be into that file as early we take a look, okay? So we need to put this key into this file. This key doesn't, because this is the first time, right? We don't have this key yet. So what we want to do is, I just simply rename this file. Before we do that, let's take a look at what it looks like, okay? If we see this private key file, you can see just a text file, very simple, right? So basically, we need to put this file into this file, okay? Because currently this doesn't exist, so I'm just do a simple rename, okay? If you want to use Windows rename, it's fine, whatever way you want, okay? Or just here. So use Windows, the first time we can just rename, let's see, rename this one, and to like this one, okay? So this is the Windows way, so we just, they said, okay, so we accept, all right? So if we have another client needed to push the key, so we basically just open this file and adding the content of private key into this file. That is fine. Okay. If we do like systematic way automation, we probably use PowerShell is better, but this is just a demo, so we use the manual way. Okay, so let's go back to our client. So because right now you see this key is already inside the administrator's authorized key file. So now if we do the SSH, it shouldn't ask us a password. Let's demo, okay? So I'm going to SSH W25. Now you can see I'm getting into the server immediately without ask me the password. So let's do who am I? Now you see I'm in the Windows 25 W25 / sysadmin1 and the host name. Yeah, so W25. Okay, so let me exit. So after we establish this key access, right, all the SSH command we use to talk to the server is going to be we don't need this anymore. Okay, so we just don't need password anymore. Okay, so let's do it. So let's do a demo. So let's see, I want to use SFTP to the server. So if I do the SFTP and W25, right? So you see I'm got to that remote immediately. If I repeated the same command earlier, you see I did this way. So if I use SCP to push to a location, let's see, I'm going to push into the temp, okay? Transfer file. We don't, you see, immediately got there, okay? So let's confirm. Let's go to the /temp. Okay, you can see it here. It is, right? So let me kill it. Let's try one more time. You can see. So with this key access or passwordless key access, everything is super easy and super fast. Okay. So let me try one more time. Now it's here. So with this OpenSSH utility, things can be very simple. Okay, very easy, like transfer files from one server to another. Get files, connect to the server, and run command. And let me do a quick. Okay, you can see it. If we want run a command against the remote, in this case, let's see, I want to see the remote. I want to run a command system info of the remote, okay? And yeah, so it's you see, I'm run this command. So the SSH connect to this remote Windows server, run the system info. Okay, you can see it. So they're gonna run this Windows. You see, they return immediately, not immediately, all the information about the remote server easily. Okay, let's do a grep. you can see, okay, the remote server, it is the OS name, the version, the OS server is 2000, information. And also let's do another one. So let's run a PowerShell script. So I want to see PowerShell. So the command, let's say I want to get service. Right, so if you run this, you can see all the service on that server is returned. Let's see, get local user. What on that server? What user we have? You see that is all the local user on that W25 box. Okay. All right, so that is basically I want to cover. So basically, we just demoed how easily we can establish this keyless access. Simply put the public key to that file. Okay. So let me end this with another example. Okay. So let me end this with another example. So currently, I'm connecting from a Linux machine, right? So if I want to connecting from Windows client, let's see, we can do this as well. And let me see, let's do this. So if I have a Windows client, in this case, I'm on this Windows box, log on as this user, I can do the similar thing. So we're gonna generate the key pair and then put the public key into that file. Administrators underscore authorized key file. Okay. So right now, we can't do that because we don't have the key public. So let's do a test. So I'm going to SSH to another server. So they ask me password, right? So I'm there, over there. So I can't, right? So I can't do the password list. In order to that on the same thing on the Windows box, we need to do the let's see, do the SSH keygen, right? Keygen. So on the Windows, as I said, it is basically default to this key type, ED25519, right? And also they put into the user's home.ssh, okay? So let's do the same thing. So let me just overwrite, right? Then, okay. So let's go to the this user. So I'm gonna go to users. This is my user, and this .ssh, and take a look at the key file .pub. Okay, so this is the key, right? So you see, similar, very simple. So we can push this key to the server side. So this time I'm gonna use a different way. Okay, I just simply use text. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this one on the server side. This is a demo, of course. In the real world, is not we're not doing this, but the principle is the same. Basically, we need put this private key into the program program data, program data. Yeah. So we're gonna go to program data SSH. So put into this file, okay, inside this file. So let me open this, use a editor. Let me just use this time using the notepad, okay? So use notepad. So now I'm adding this key here, okay? So let's close it, save. Now, if I do the same command back to my command window, I should be able to connect without using the password. Let's try. See, now I'm in that server. You see who am I? Yeah, see, now I'm in that server. So the principle is the same, regardless what kind of client. So we just need have the private key and public key pair. One private key is on the local client, and the public key is going to be in the remote server into that authorized key file. The difference between Linux and Windows is just the location, the name, okay? All right, so that's yeah, there's lots of information, but mainly I hope this will help in the future if for troubleshoot, if you encounter it, especially on Windows, it's relatively complicated than the Linux. Linux, the file permissions are very easy. Linux on Windows, if your file permissions get incorrect, you have to use ACL to correct it. That is another story, but not covered in this video. All right, so that's all for today.